And welcome back into another new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller,
And my name is Brett Parnell.
and let's dive in. So, last week we did walk through Brett's second chances cast and what that would look like, and a simulated season he ran with that cast, and was a ton of fun. And this week we're back with my version of that. And
Really
so,
looking forward to seeing who you cast for your season.
a little bit about how I came up with these tribes is I came up with my list of 10 men and 10 women first, and then I decided I wanted to do something other than just the standard every season, two randomized tribes of 10. So I started trying to rework the numbers and change out names and see if I could create a three tribe old school, new era season. But that was too much work, then I couldn't figure it out. So I went back to my original two lists of 10. And for each of them, I put it into ChatGPT, which is an AI, and I told them to randomize each list into two groups of three and two groups of two. And then I paired groups of three women with groups of two men and vice versa. So the tribes are randomized, but the kooky weird thing is I have four tribes of five, which we've only seen once in Cook Islands. So without further ado, let's try screen sharing again. Oh, oh gosh, here we go again. Is it working?
Yeah, it's just loading, but give it a second.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect.
So my first person, this is the I2 tribe, by the way. I accidentally skipped past the buff slide for this. Somebody
No
that
problem.
on my season is kind of going to fill the role that Kelly Wigglesworth did on the original Second Chances season. And that any person I've heard talk on a podcast or post on Facebook seems to not understand how this person missed out on second chances. And that is Teresa T-Bird Cooper from Africa.
Yeah, great pick. I agree. I don't know how she missed out on 31. I certainly voted for her, as I don't know if I've ever mentioned on Tribal Council chat. One of the reasons I think I rank Cambodia in my rankings lower than most fans is because I literally voted for like 80% of the people who didn't get in.
That's
But
true. And so, moving along, the next person on the I2 tribe is somebody that was a great strategic player on their season. And if it weren't for a certain twist on their season, that we will get into that twist a little bit later, probably would have won their season. And she's also somebody that I just personally think is gorgeous, and that is Victoria Bamond.
nice. Great pick. I had her on my Legends cast. I met her in real life. I think she's a great strategic player. Somebody who the Aubrey blindside, I think, is probably one of the best moves made in the new era, or in the new school game, I mean.
Yeah. And what you'll see as we move throughout this is the way 31 second chances had multiple people from like Cambodia and from San Juan del Sur. That's kind of what Edge of Extinction is for my season. I think I
Nice.
have like three people from that season on here.
Nice. It's an amazing cast. So
Yeah. Moving on is a first boot player who was
mm,
the first person that figured out one of Survivor's most notorious villains before anyone else. And the reason I'm putting her on here is because she got first booted because she figured this person out. That is Marisa Callahan, first boot from Survivor Samoa.
interesting. Just because of my rules, I never thought of her when I made my cast, but that is such a good pick. Really never got a chance to play, but I mean, she's the first person that can really say she targeted Russell Hantz.
And she figured him out that quickly, and no one else
Yeah.
did for some reason. Like, if she figured Russell out that quickly before anyone else, she's got to have a mind for the game.
Oh, for sure. Excellent pick.
And so moving on to the two men for the I2 tribe, I have the person that, statistically speaking, he came closer to winning than anyone ever has without winning, and that is Ghost Island's Dominic Abate.
Amazing pick. I did not put him on my cast just because he was on my Legends cast, but definitely someone I'd love to see play again. One easily in the top like 5 players, depending on your own personal rankings, to never win the game.
Yeah. And so my last person on the I2 tribe is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum gameplay wise. And gameplay wise doesn't deserve necessarily a second chance, but he's going to bring the entertainment to my season because he went out in a blaze of glory on his season, and that is Survivor Philippines, Zane Knight.
Interesting. Again, not someone I thought of, but that's fascinating. It would be great to see someone who came in with his bizarre strategy, maybe see if he's learned anything since the experience and see if he can do anything differently this time.
Hopefully he has, but even if he hasn't, he's going to go out in an entertaining way. So,
Oh, for sure.
and heck, he gets criticized, and rightfully so, for his strategy. Gabler, I'm pretty sure, volunteered to be voted out at some point on his premiere episode
Yeah,
and ended up winning. So maybe Zane was on to something. But
he
either
could have
way,
been.
I
It
casted.
was so interesting too in that first episode to see that relationship between him and the eventual winner in Denise.
Yeah, but I pretty much casted Zane most for entertainment and not at all for gameplay. But oh well, it's my cast, so I can do that.
I
But
like it.
so that is the first tribe done. Before we move on, do you have any thoughts on the I2 tribe?
Um, I really like this tribe. There's certainly some players, both Zane and Marisa, that I never really thought about the prospect of them coming back, but I think it would be fascinating to see. I think both of them would probably adapt their games enough to be somewhat successful in the game, maybe very successful. Who knows?
Yeah, and I just, with Marisa specifically, she figured Russell out so far before anyone else did. You can't
Yeah.
convince me she doesn't have a great mind for this game,
Oh, for sure.
but she just never got a chance to play. But the
Yeah.
thing that kind of annoys me is that I put two first boots on this cast, I think, and Chat GPT put them on the same tribe name. So,
That's funny.
but moving on, we have the yellow tribe, which is Manihiki. And my first person is another person from Edge of Extinction, and an incredible social player, somebody that you guys have heard me say on this podcast is my favorite one-time player,
Yep.
and it's also just super pretty, and that is Lauren O'Connell.
Great pick. She was on my cast too. This is one of the spots that we're in the same alignment with. And yeah, I think if Lauren played again, she'd certainly be a front runner to win going into the game.
Yeah, for sure. And so the next woman up on Manihiki is somebody that I personally just find to be incredibly likable and fun. And not only that, but she played an incredible game. And had she made it one more round, would have had a really good shot at winning, even though the final two were both incredible and one of the best final twos. From Survivor Token Chains, Taj Johnson George.
Interesting. Yeah, I really like this pick. I thought you were about to pick Aaron here, so I
Yeah.
kind of had my speech prepared one way, but no, Taj would be great to see come back. Um, she was a great player in that game, both with Steven and JT, but then also really playing for herself. And when she did get voted out, made it obvious that she was going to support Aaron at final if she got there. And then, I mean, also probably one of the most memorable loved ones visits of all time,
Best
seeing that
awkward
she's
moment.
married to a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah. My bad. I said if she had made it one more round, I had her and Aaron placements flipped in my head because her and
No
Stevie
problems.
JT were together for so long.
Yeah.
But had she made the final two, she would have had a good shot.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, best auction moment ever, in my opinion. And Token Chains is just such an underrated season. I love Token Chains.
Yeah, definitely up there. There might be one quote that's simply "God damn it, Reed," that I think might top it for me, but
Yeah. So
that is just too funny to watch Colby and his. Oh no, that's a family visit, but that's not an auction. I'm
yeah,
mixing it up.
close enough.
Yeah,
And so my
but
third,
yeah, definitely the top auction moment. Family visits probably my third favorite moment, with Colby in second and Michelle and Kim in first
yeah.
in Winners at War.
And so my third woman on the Manihiki tribe is somebody that showed a ton of potential in her first time around, and we really got to see her saw her character arc grow and saw her grow throughout the season in a very entertaining way. One of the fandom's favorite one-timers from Micronesia, Natalie Bolton.
Nice. I really like this pick. Definitely somebody who I think played an amazing strategic game. Memorable for how many confessionals she had, and would be someone who I'm really surprised never got a chance to play again. Would have been great to see her in Heroes versus Villains. It wasn't to be, and I guess I'm surprised that maybe she turned it down or something, but I'm surprised that she wasn't on the ballot for Cambodia.
Yeah. And not only the number of confessionals, but some of the confessionals specifically, like the one where she's talking about how much she's grown, that she's become her real self, and that's pretty cutthroat stone cold. Or when
Yeah.
she's talking about flossing her throat with someone's jugular. Just very entertaining player.
Oh,
Good
that
gameplay.
was great.
Got caught up as the only fan left in an alliance of favorites, so not
Yeah.
much you can do there. But
Not much you can do, but at the same time, if she gets to the end, she probably wins it because of that.
yeah, for sure. And so I love the way at least for the women, this tribe got put together a really interesting group with her and Taj and Lauren all together.
Yeah.
And so moving on to the two men for Manihiki, somebody that I really enjoyed his first season, and that he kind of was playing alongside the eventual winner of his season, and I'd like to see him play without that person. From Survivor Palau, Ian Rosenberger.
Interesting. Yeah, I never thought of him, but that's a great pick. The longest immunity challenge of all time, over 12 hours before he goes out. And then, like you say, he was playing next to the eventual winner. But yeah, great pick. Someone who I would like to see again. That was it for a rough season. That was a very interesting final three.
Yeah. And so before we move on to the next tribe, what are your thoughts on? No, I have one more person. Never mind. Gosh.
Yeah,
And that is one of my favorites from the season I'm currently rewatching, David versus Goliath. That is Christian Hubicki.
that is a great pick. When I did Legends, I was like, do I put him? Do I put Davey in that same category? And I ended up settling with Davey, but I really like seeing Christian here. If he was to play again, he'd certainly again kind of like where I put Lauren. I think people would be coming in expecting him to go far on day one.
Yeah. And so moving on, our next tribe is the Green Tribe, which is
So
Puka.
just on
You
that tribe, yeah, before we go on, I do, like you said, what do I think about it? That's definitely a great tribe. I would say maybe more so than the first. I'm looking at that Hiki tribe going, the likelihood of the winner coming from this tribe is probably pretty high.
yeah.
And I don't know who's in your last Puka tribe or Roro tribe yet.
Yeah, that the Monihiki tribe got stacked a little bit, but especially for the women. I mean, Christian and Ian are both incredible too, though.
Yeah.
I,
I mean, hey, if it's gonna be random, that we've seen that happen.
yeah,
And it works. It's great
yeah,
TV.
it's great. So we're on to Puka Puka tribe now, which they wear green buffs on this tribe.
Yeah.
Last week you had Claire, who was a female from Survivor 44 on yours. I have a different female from 44 on mine. Ironically, wore a green buff on her on 44 also, and was kind of a standout to me on her season. Franny Marin.
I love this pick. Um, yeah, I considered her for my cast as well. It was amazing to see her just like you wouldn't expect it and stacking up in challenges great against the men and beating them when we got to the individual game. Um, the fact that her and Matt, at least so far, are the first successful showmance since Robin Amber Mariano
Yeah, for sure.
is
Love
was
the
great in that
relationship.
season. Yeah, overall, great pick.
And so the second woman on the Puka Puka tribe is another new era player. Somebody that you and I were both saying was at the top of our power rankings or leaderboards all season until she got blindsided. And what to me is definitely the best slash biggest blindside of the new era. Survivor 45's Kelly Nalbandian. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I would love to see Kelly play again. I think she was in a really strong position to go far in this game until she was blindsided. And I probably about at the merge thought that she was going to win this season that just ended. So definitely a name that belongs in this cast and really belongs in any um attorney season conversation after now that we're into an era where we'd probably get at least a decent number of new era players.
Yeah. And so I mentioned earlier that we might get into Edge of Extinction as a twist. And my next player is why I said that, because I texted you about this person last night when I realized he wasn't on either of your casts. And your response was they already got their second chance. And I couldn't tell if that was a subtle shot at the twist or a subtle shot at the player.
A
But
bit of both.
a player I love and a player that, at least from what I can tell, seems to be a fan favorite, Rick
Yeah,
Devitt, who admittedly,
amazing pick.
you're kind of right, did get a second chance, but I want to see him play again. So,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. He didn't make my cast, I think, just because of the whole Edge thing makes me devalue his game compared to some people in the fan base, but I still love the pick. He's a great character
yeah.
and somebody that would make for both entertaining television, but also if he was to come back, would probably be a top strategic mastermind of this cast so far.
Yeah.
And someone who really did well when he did come back from the edge. I mean, I'm totally with Lauren on this, not with Julie. I think when somebody cuts back into the game, the only choice you have in Survivor anymore because of how many twists there are is vote them right out. But
And I'd like to do an episode sometime on just redemption twists.
mhm.
I feel like they could bring Edge back and it wouldn't be so broken and hated if they just cut it off at the merge returnee
Oh
and
yeah,
started the jury after that.
absolutely. It
Like
would be great.
the whole broken part about it, and I don't again, I want to do an episode on this, so I'm trying to not say too much. But the whole broken part about it is that you get to schmooze the jury on Edge. If you take that aspect out of it, it's a fun twist. It gives you good television.
There's that, and then there's essentially, and we'll talk about this more when we do an episode on it. But the thing that always stuck out to me is just if you win that final challenge, and I know in Devin's case he didn't. That's why I would like to see him again now that you bring him up. But Um, if you win that second Edge challenge instead of the first one, you essentially got immunity all the way to the finale, no
Yeah,
matter where you played in the game.
yeah. So, moving on from Devins, my next man on the Puka Puka tribe is a new era player who was a good player, navigated 41 really well, and just one of my favorite new era players because he seems super likable. Danny McRae.
Yeah, great pick. We Another name that's on both our lists, someone that should get a chance to come back based on what happened to him in his season and really what happened to his whole alliance was kind of disrupted everything, not because it's a twist, but because they won.
Yeah,
And I'll repeat that again. There's nothing wrong with twists in the game, but I'm right with Denny and with Sydney on this. There's a difference between a twist and a lie. And if you tell somebody, congratulations, here's your merge buff, you made the merge, then in my mind, they rightfully made the merge.
to me, they made the merge anyway when the two tribes went to one beach, but
Mhm.
Survivor Thailand proved me wrong on that one. So,
Yeah, way back then.
and then finishing out the Puka Puka tribe is, for some reason, another new era player. Devins is the only person on this tribe not from the new era, so
Interesting.
maybe he gets voted out first on this tribe. Just a new era alliance could form. But
Yeah.
from Survive, the second person from 45, somebody that has a really fun personality and was very good at the social game, obviously, because they got targeted for how good they were socially. And I want to see how far he can go after learning from 45 and not being so obvious about connecting with everyone. Caleb Gebrowald. I hope I pronounced that right.
Great pick. Another one that we both had in common. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think Devins would be in trouble here. Because ultimately, when we look at the other four, this is a new era all-star tribe.
Oh yeah,
You're not just talking about new era players. You're talking with Franny, with Kelly, with Caleb, with Danny. Like these are the best of the best that we've seen since Winners at War.
yeah, and
At least in a game where there's no winners. I should add that caveat.
yeah. I would say Danny got not Danny. I would say Devins got swap screwed, but this isn't even a swap. This is just a starting tribe that
Yeah. I guess
fake production did a bad job putting together. I guess.
that's one advantage that Devons would have here is if we were going to follow the Cook Islands model, we know that four tribes will become two very quickly on.
Yep. And so, before we move on to our last tribe, which is Rarotonga, what are your? I mean, I know you kind of just said New Era All Stars, but final thoughts
Yes.
on Puka Puka?
That's pretty much it. I mean, we didn't just get players from the new era here. We got the best.
Yep. We got Kelly, we got Danny, we got Franny, who is
Danny
having
and
a
Kelly.
relationship, and Caleb. Just an awesome tribe here. So moving on, we have the Rarotonga tribe, who, when I built this slide, because I was building these slides on my phone on Google Slides, Prope's voice in my head came in my head saying Candace from Raro tribe, talking to Billy Garcia, who said he had fallen in love with Candace.
One of the funniest moments of all time.
Oh my! I can't imagine being him watching that back for the first time on television. I'd love to
I
hear how that
I
went.
can't imagine being like what the probes and the camera people and sound editing and we're all thinking.
Or what Candace thought when she first heard it, which we kind of,
Yeah.
but good lord, such a good moment. Cook Islands is an amazing season.
Oh, it is.
So my first person on this tribe is Dara Johnson, who, it's funny, when I did Taj, you said you thought it was going to be Aaron. I originally had Aaron in this slot. And when I was reworking my list to try to do old school, new era, I swapped Aaron out for Dara to have an even older school. player that wasn't like 18 is kind of close to the old school, new school line.
Yeah.
And then when I
Um,
decided to ditch that idea, I just kind of kept Dara instead. So this
nice.
was originally Aaron's spot, but Dara
I love
doesn't
this
get
pick.
talked about enough in the conversation of challenge beasts. But you think
Yeah.
about she won what, 3 in a row coming down the stretch of
Yeah, absolutely. I love this pick. I considering the game, the time that she played, and how juries are a bit different then than they are today. I truly think if she got to the end, she would have beat Sandra or beat Fairplay and 100% beat Lil.
well, anyone beats what Lil. But
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
Um,
Derek.
but yeah, I think she played a great game. She was that close to winning if she could have won a couple more challenges. I mean, if she did win those two challenges, then she would be ahead of. She's only one challenge behind what is a record right now amongst women being shared by like Jenna Malaska, Kim Spradlin, all
Yeah.
winners with four challenges. Kelly Wigglesworth is in there. So and she's right under those names, the top
Yeah.
female players in the physical game individually.
Well, and they're not challenges, they're redemption duels, but Laura Moret in 27 proved herself to be a comp beast also out on
Yeah,
Redemption Island.
absolutely.
What's the male record? Is it, I feel like it's
Mike
probably
Holloway and Colby, I think five.
because Colby won like 5 in a row, I want to say, on
Yeah,
Australian Outback. It was something ridiculous.
yeah. He didn't win the first couple, but then he just won them all.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty. I'd have to check, but I think Mike Holloway and Colby are tied.
yeah. And so if it weren't for Zane and Marisa, this next person would probably be my most surprising pick. It's somebody that doesn't really get talked about that often, but on Blood versus Water, she showed some really good flashes. And my guess is because her loved one is a legend of the game, probably got targeted a little bit. And I'd like to see her play without that loved one. Katie Collins, who is Tina
Interesting.
Wesson's daughter on Blood versus Water.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I kind of forgot about her game, but I would love to see her play alone. I kind of almost, when I think of a player like Katie, I think of like how much better Wentworth did when Dale wasn't on the season. And I almost wonder, I put her in that category of like, could Kelly be the new Kelly Wentworth? Could Baylor be the new Kelly Wentworth if they were playing by themselves?
Yeah. So
So yeah, I like this pick.
moving on to the men of Rarotonga, I have what is one of my all-time favorite New Era players. He's either first or tied for first. D might be tied with him now just because I picked her as my preseason winner and she won, and that's never happened before. But and so, but I still love this guy. Best game of the New Era from a person not named D. Jesse Lopez.
Amazing pick.
Yeah,
Like I said, he was on. I put him as a legend, hence why he wasn't on my cast.
yeah,
But yeah, best game of the new era. Excuse me, best game of the new era for sure. Um, Definitely someone I think you'd be hard fetched to find a Survivor fan that doesn't want to see Jesse get another shot. He was my pre-game winner pick in 42. I mean, I'm also a political science student, so I was drawn to Jesse right away. Or
43.
yeah, 43. I shouldn't say was a political science student. I've been removed from that world for almost a decade now. God, time flies.
Yeah,
But no, I would love to see Jesse play again. And it would be interesting going in. So far, I think I would easily say he's the best player of this cast. I don't know if I would put him as my winner pick because he'd probably get targeted early.
yeah. Moving on because we have a sim to go through and the clock is up on us now.
Oh, so
Davey Rickenbacker, super likable, great social player,
yeah,
made some
great
really
pick.
good moves, contributed to the minority split vote that blindsided John Morrison.
Another, I love this pick. He was my favorite player that season. Another one who was on my first Legends cast, but amazing.
And ah, finishing out the cast, the last man on Rarotonga, we did a Guatemala episode on our thoughts on who we thought should have won that final two. This last person is somebody that I feel like probably beats either of the real final two if he's there. Rafe Judkins.
Interesting. Yeah, I really like that. I'm surprised that Rafe never got a chance to come back in the real world. But yeah, I definitely would like to see him again in this point.
So,
And he really had everything. He was a great strategic player. He was good in challenges. He was good socially.
so here is all the tribes, the full cast stacked up against each other. What are your thoughts on this cast now that you're seeing all the tribes next to each other? Does one stick out to you as a favorite? One you think's gonna run away with it?
Um, I think that last tribe, Rarotonga, is probably the tribe I would think might be the most dominant and run this. So that's then we have Puka with all new era. Like I said, we have some big names on Hiki. Who knows what would happen at I2? We don't really know enough about Melissa or Zane, but like I could see like Melissa and Victoria coming together as two women who really know the game.
I know
The
enough
la-
about Zane that I'm worried about I2, to be honest with you, but
yeah,
it's
the
gonna be a
last
fun tribe.
the last thought that I've had, and I know I've commented about this, we're probably at some point soon going to do an episode about it, but that kind of surprises me. No returning players from Survivor Wrong, despite how much, at least I always talk about how much I like that cast.
Sure, yeah, I thought about it. There were a couple people that were the first person at the top of the list that got left out for me. Honestly, wasn't from Wrong either. That was Hayden Moss, but
Mm.
some good. The thing is, like a lot of people from Wrong have returned already too. It's pretty much just Julia that hasn't that I would want to see again.
And Sydney.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot Sydney. So
But
moving on,
no, I love these tribes.
here is what happens when the four tribes become two, and this is just such a weird mix of people on both.
That is a bizarre mix. Kelly's in trouble.
Yeah,
That's my first reaction.
but Devin
And
made it.
yeah, Devin's made it. And I also see Lauren and Victoria on the same beach again. That'll be interesting.
I feel like Bolton and T-Bird are going to be a weird mix of personalities, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how those two interact. So moving on, because in the real Cook Islands, they had a chance to mutiny to the other tribe, and two people mutinied from the same
Of
tribe
course,
to the tribe.
Zane Knight is one of the ones to take that chance.
Yeah, of course. Zane's entertaining. Like I said,
Great.
not a good player, but entertaining as heck. T-Bird mutinies from I2 to Rarotonga. And Zane, of course, mutinies from Raro to I2. So they basically took each other's place. We'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
So here is our merged tribe, I2 Tonga.
Interesting. So Zane makes the merge. That's gonna be fun. Rafe's still there. Do you see another duo by two names that we've already seen before, Lauren and Kelly?
I see Caleb and Kelly together. They play a
Yeah.
little bit together. I love that this so far running through this sim is just us keeping track of what Zane is doing, by the way. Not a development I expected, but
No.
so moving on. Oh, before we move on from the merge tribe that we were just on,
Yeah.
here it is. Who's your winner pick from here? Because you asked me to pick a winner pick at the merge of yours.
Yeah, I mean, we did just flip it. If let's say we didn't, I would probably have picked Kelly at this point.
Okay. So here is
Oh,
our
she's
finale.
still there. I did not even notice her there when I picked her. I thought she was voted out.
Our final 5 is Dara Ian, so old school survivor representing well. Caleb and Kelly, 45 representing really well. And Taj coming in. So
Taj is probably the swing vote here.
Zane did not make the finale. He was close. We'll see that in a second.
Oh, too bad. It would have been amazing to see Zane Knight at final having to defend his game amongst all of these other people.
I was not expecting running through the sim to just be us keeping track of Zane, but I'm so happy that's what happened. So moving
Yeah,
on, our fan favorite award goes to Marisa Callahan. Now that she
I love
actually
that.
had time to play without Russell,
Yep.
and here are our placements.
We both picked each other's winner.
Yeah, Kelly won. So, and I did not tell Brett that that's what was going to
No,
happen at all.
he told me nothing.
The only thing Brett knew about my cast was the things I said on the show last week. Kelly wins, and since we've mentioned him so many times, Zane finished 8th, so
Nice.
3 spots away from making the finale. It looks like Devon's was the first boot after 4 tribes became 2, so. But his tribe, Puka Puka, went to the first tribe one, somehow voted out Danny instead of him. So good for Devon's for being social, I guess. And so, real quick, we got 2.5 minutes left. Align blindside first boot. Give me your 3 names.
3 names. Katie, Franny, and Marisa.
Interesting. And so I'm gonna go out on a limb here and align with Marisa, just because I feel like there's potential there and a
I
lot of
agree.
it, but it's not enough to where I feel like it'll make me a threat.
Yeah.
And I'll blindside Franny just because she seems like a really happy, like she'd be a cool juror about it, wouldn't hold it against me.
Yeah.
First boot Katie because I hated seeing her go to rocks. I don't want to blindside her a second time.
Yeah, I agree with you on every single one there.
And so I originally had 3 names for you that I hadn't picked on mine before, but you named 2 of them with Franny and Katie. So
Oh, sorry.
I will say Victoria, who I don't believe I've said. I will say, let's say Zane, because we talked about him so many times. And I will throw Devon's in there. I don't know if I picked
Okay.
him or not, but
I'm gonna align with Victoria. Like I said before, someone I've met in real life and that is great to chat with. I'm gonna blindside Devins. I think he would be valuable to take and probably would make a good juror. And I mean, I'm gonna first boot Zane because
yeah,
it's time that Francesca has some company.
Is Francesca the only first boot that's ever came back?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so.
I was thinking about that. I'm pretty sure she
And
is.
he was first boot again, so
My
he
fake
doesn't deserve to be alone in that title.
my fake production brought back 2 of them. So great episode.
Yeah.
This will be up.
Yeah, great.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Dip your
And
toe.
like and subscribe on the video.
Head back to camp, guys. Have a great week.
Have a good night.